All right, welcome back to NVC Dudes. I'm your host, James Prieto. My guest today is Jim Manske. Hey, Jim.
Hey,
welcome back.
Glad to be here.
And we were talking about needs earlier, and I think you have a story about differentiating needs and strategies, or why don't you just go ahead and share what you wanted to talk about?
Yeah, I was thinking about this idea of a needs harvest that I mentioned, of asking participants to share what their needs are, and we make a list of it. And what we're attuning ourselves to as trainers in that moment is listening for distinction between a need, this universal life energy that we've been talking about, and a strategy. And we were doing a class last week in China. We weren't actually in China. We were on Zoom with a group of people in China. It's a brand new group. We've never met them. We don't know any of these people. And it was actually kind of a weird experience, James. We're on Zoom, and there's 15 or so people on the call. And the only camera that is on is my camera, Jory's camera, the translator's camera, and the boss's camera, and then one of the other employees. But so there's 12 or 13 blank screens with names that are pretty much incomprehensible to us. Some of them are in Chinese characters, and some of them are in Roman characters. And so it's already a little bit disorienting to try to be doing this needs harvest. And it's a business setting. So of course, one of the people, actually 4 people, we were asking people to put the needs in the chat, and so they can be translated. And money comes up 4 times as a need. And so we watch it go by, and we're not going to be into any kind of correction thing here yet. We just want to do this needs harvest. And this is typically what we do. I think somebody else might have said a car. Cars are big in China. People love to have cars. It's a big sign of, they're really arriving in the middle class. And so it's, we're hearing this and letting it in. And then there's an opening for us to start expressing the distinction that makes a difference for me. The difference that makes a difference between a need and a strategy is that needs answer the question, why? Why do we do what we do? So we do that for love. We do what we do for survival. We do what we do to create order. And strategies answer the question, how? How are we going to get this need met? And so I said something like, well, if you have money, what does that give you? And the chat just came alive with the same word over and over and over again. Freedom. So I actually thought this was quite fascinating, that on a couple of levels that was so easy to translate the strategy money into the need freedom in the world's largest communist country, where everyone still values freedom. It's still a very important intrinsic experience.
Yeah, I love that, Jim, because it makes it really easy, and it makes it easy to talk about like words like power. And you just ask the question, well, what does that give you? And it might be the same thing. It might be freedom. It might be autonomy or choicefulness, or things around that.
Very, very powerful question. And no matter what need word that you use to describe this life inside you, you can always take it a little deeper by asking yourself or empathically connecting with, if they had that, then what would that mean to them? And it will always take you deeper. And in fact, if you take it deep enough, you'll get to the ineffable. You'll get to a place where you're really in the living energy then, because there are no other words to describe it.
Yeah. Are you that sounds a little bit like the NLP technique that you taught us a while back, the meta outcoming.
Yeah, that's where I learned it. That's where I learned it. It's actually become quite common in the NVC community. I don't know how it got common, but it's a natural question. It's a natural empathic question. So I don't know that it necessarily comes from anywhere except from the human heart and the curiosity that really drives empathy.
Yeah. And another definition of needs, I've heard it called intrinsic motivation. So what's really motivating you to do what you want to do, or to buy that car,
right? Or get that job, or even do that act of violence. There's always it's one of the hardest lessons to remember in nonviolent communication, that every behavior, without exception, is motivated by this living energy.
Yeah. Well, this is a good pausing point, Jim. Wonder if we could take a break, and
Okay.
I think we have time for maybe one more. So
Okay.
stick around.